This is taking a minute. I'm supposed to be looking to make sure. I think we are live, even though it's not showing me that it is. I think we are live. Yes, we are. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy beginning of December. It's almost the end of the month. We have one more month left in the year. It's like this year just flew by, or is it just me? We are already at the end of the year, so pretty soon the next one is going to be an end of year recap, new year starting, things like that. So a couple things I want to point out. We've been talking about the end of year Santa rally. It started in November. Key things I want you to look at. Last year, the bull run started in October. This year, October was a little red, but then the bull run started in November. I anticipate it's going to continue. We were looking for some corrective activity last week, and I'll show y'all this on the charts in a little bit, but it looks like mostly what we got was sideways action, flag action for the EMAs to catch up, and then a breakout. So huge inverted head and shoulders on a lot of these weekly charts. I think that we're just not done. So December started off green. We should continue to be green. So, okay. Let us go over the economic data that we have coming up this week. So nothing on Monday, as you can see. So, Monday may be that in-between day. You know how Mondays are. For me, I don't trade on Mondays because, in my opinion, Mondays are rarely a solid trend day. It's usually kind of setting up what the week is going to do. So I like to wait it out. All right, then Tuesday, we may have some volatility that comes in because we have this PMI and JOLTS jobs openings. And then Wednesday, I don't think we have anything. Imports, exports we have on Wednesday. And the ADP employment change. And the MBA mortgage rate. So there's, some data points on Wednesday. Just know, though, the market has been shaking off data. So at this point, it's not like that we're looking for anything really big that's going to tank the market. If you notice, the bears are in hibernation mode, which is kind of the title of this video. Bears have been sleeping. By the way, speaking of that, I'm supposed to get better with this. If you are here and if you are watching, please give the video a like for me. And also subscribe if you haven't. I'm on a mission to get to 1,000 subscribers, so gotta ask. Closed mouth don't get fed, right? So anyway, as I was saying, Wednesday we have that. Thursday, jobless claims as usual, challenger job cuts, and then that's really it. And then Friday we have non-farm payrolls. All right, so that may be, and Michigan consumer sentiment. So Friday may be, the day that something actually shakes. I know last week we had mostly sideways action. The price action was really, really trash. But again, it was basing to build up for that breakout. And I guess Powell sent it higher on Friday. So maybe we'll have a repeat of that next week with the data that we have coming out. So as usual, that's what we go through. Also, I wanted to point out, since we have a new month, don't forget to go to Frank's spreadsheet. Check out your monthly things. I'm not going to go over them just yet because I'll scroll through them, but I really think some of them may need some time to set up. Even though we did start the new month on Friday. They may need to set up. I really would like to see what they do the first couple of days this week. Also, remember that we uncouple again this week. So since we started a new month on Friday, now we have the new week and the new hourly that will start. So don't forget to mark your levels. Okay. So again, make your list from Frank's spreadsheet because you have your new monthly. And then, yeah, you'll be ready to go. Alrighty, let us get to it. Okay, so the VIX. Y'all, can the VIX go lower? Yes. Yes, it can. We are saying, oh, it's at exhaustion. It really is. But it can go lower, especially since the market is looking like it wants to go higher. If you zoom out, you do have a head and shoulders here. Okay, so VIX is still in the shoulder area right here, meaning if it loses this 1258 area, it can still go down a little bit more. It may not tank, but it could. And you have to understand, looking at SPY and the Qs and things like that, who still do have room to go up. If the VIX follows its pattern like it should, going opposite, it has room to go down. So my next, I guess, major area would be here, where it's bounced off several times, where it looks like it found a solid support at 1139. So looking for the VIX to possibly go to 1139. Now, keep in mind, the bottom of this broadening formation here is 1236. So it may want to iron that area out a little bit, but then it could drop a whole nother dollar to get to this 1139 area. And then look, it really can get down sub $10, sub $9. All right, say this is the sell side it wanted to go for before we saw some true red, and the end of year rally wants to take these people out that have been there since 2018. It's a long time. All right, we're under our 200 very far, so we know that we are bearish. We know that we are in short the rip mode. So that's basically where the VIX is at. Gold, oh, this is taking a while. Gold is doing its thing. No, this is really taking a while. Oh, I don't like that. I think it's where I'm at right now, which I liked where I'm at because you guys could see the sign behind me, because I think it really reflects to trading so much. Mindset in trading is a lot. So yeah, but anyway, so y'all might have to deal a little bit with a little bit of a lag. So if anybody is here and you have a chat you want me to look at, or a chart you want me to look at, stick it in the chat and I will get to it. All right, so gold. Now gold, look here on the monthly. On the monthly, gold printed an inverted head and shoulders and is now breaking out of that. So does it have room to go? Yes, it could still go. Looking for gold to take out this next level. Did it take it out yet? Not quite. 2083 is going to be the next level for it to take out. All right, and then from there, oh, it's taking a while. From there, top of the broadening formation is 2095. Then we will just use our fib extensions to see where we are going to go from there. But in my opinion, this is looking a lot like how SPY looks. You got your inverted head and shoulders here on the daily and on the monthly. This is the 2 weeks, so you can't really see that. And it kind of busts out of one on the weekly. All right, so gold, still looking for gold to continue to the upside. The dollar. Ooh. The dollar is funny because, not funny, but this is what we expected. And this is, sometimes you just have to wait for certain things like this. Not quite sure why. Oh, this is my weekly. See how long it's taking to show up? Have patience with me today, guys, because, yeah, yikes. All right, so new month on the dollar, and we did hit our magnitude for the 2 up, 2 down for last month. And right now we're inside On the weekly, you see that we have come down to test this 61.8 level. So really, if gold cannot reverse here, we're going to expect for it to continue to take out the rest of these and then possibly come down to the bottom of this broadening formation at 98.78. Okay, so gold really needs to recover here because this is about that level where where the bulls can possibly save it. All right, and then if you look here, we're below our 200 here, so that's the level that it really needs to recover. It could possibly two down, two up from here. It would have to break above 103.57, and then go back to the upside and break above this 200 again to be back bullish. Otherwise, yeah, it may go in and continue down. All right, looking at NASDAQ new month. NASDAQ. Y'all, this monthly candle took out all of these. Okay, that is really strong, and it actually looks like a cup and handle, and boom. Okay, it also is looking like a gigantic inverted head and shoulders that was saved right about here at 14,160. So ultimately, we are looking for the NASDAQ to continue. Last week we were talking about how a lot of these things were at exhaustion, right? They were, and if you look here on the daily, it was at exhaustion. It kind of really just based here for a while to allow this EMA to catch up. So see how we gapped up? We're far away from the EMA. We're still moving. Now we're just kind of chopping in the area for the EMA to catch up. And then from there, it found support and recovered. So now looking to see if the bulls are going to continue. Because again, the bears have been asleep. The reason I say that is you might have some corrective activity. Like here you had a corrective day on Wednesday and even Thursday. But again, once it finds that support or a strong support, the bulls are stepping in. So it's one of those things where it's basically by the dip mode. And we know that, and we've known that as long as we've stayed above this 200, right? So again, with the NASDAQ, with all of these in the future, not all of these in the future, but most of these indexes that are in these bull runs, yes, you can still go higher. Basically, like I said, this base, and now it's set up for a breakout. If it does continue looking for 777 on the NASDAQ to take out that high. And then again, we're going to use our trend extensions to see where we can go from here. All right, to the downside, if we have any downside activity, we would be looking for these gaps because we have plenty of gaps to fill to the downside. It would need to break this 15,825, which would flip the month red and come down to fill this gap. So 15,530 is what I would be looking for it to fill. And then also another thing you can do is you can fib this run here to look for the 50% mark for where we can expect the bulls to step in. We may correct for the first week or even the second week of December before we have the next run, because we could use filling some gaps, but we'll have to see what happens. So anyway, on this daily, I am seeing a bit of a head. We can make a shoulder area, and then it could come down here to test that before it continues to go up. But then we also have here on the weekly this kind of cup looking for a handle. All right, on the monthly here you see this inverted head and shoulders, so you're going to see that a lot. Looking at the Dow, see the same thing here on the monthly. This is driving me crazy. It's taking forever for everything to load up. So while I was doing that, I'll talk. Here's your head, and it's been in the shoulder area for forever, but we have been talking about that with the Dow. Okay, we have been talking about how it has been not moving. It's been stuck in a range. We've been looking at that, and it basically finally broke out. It took weeks, months actually, because look at that. This is from, that took a year. November 2022 to November 2023 to break out of this range. That's insane, you guys. That's the ultimate test of patience. Mindset is everything, because the amount of patience that required to wait for this breakout. So again, remember, when you have long basing like that, when you have a breakout, it's not usually just that breakout and it stops. We're looking for a breakout, mini correction, and it to continue the breakout. Okay, so buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Now here we can see on the 2-week that this is at exhaustion for real. So it really does need some type of correction. I'm thinking either it's going to correct and come back down to this EMA, or we may see some more sideways choppy action while it gives it a chance to catch up like it did before. Alright, so again, still looking for more upside after possible corrective activity. Small caps did great. Remember last week we were looking, come on, this. Alright, as much as I love this sign, I cannot record in here again. Alright, IWM is a little bit like the Dow, okay? I just want y'all to know that. If y'all look at this on the monthly, look at this. This is really kind of ugly. Now, you can catch some really good moves with IWM because it's cheap, and when you have moves like this day, you can really make a lot of money. You just have to wait for it. There's a couple things I want to point out though. First of all, this again for more than a year has been stuck in this range. Okay, it's not breaking below 164, and it's really not breaking above 200. So you're looking for that breakout that may happen whenever. Again, it's like the Dow. The Dow took a year. This has been stuck in that range for more than that. But keep your eye on it, because when it breaks out, it's going to break out. That 200, when it beats that level, it's going to take off. And we may finally see it get to this, the top of this Broadner formation. All right. So looking at it on the week, you see that we've hit the 50% level of this drop. All right. Now remember, looking before, we can still go up to 61.8. So that would be my next target, would be this 184.59. And then if it passes there, looking for it to hit that 200 again. And again, if it can break out of that finally, then you may see it actually try to move. Okay. And you see it on the daily. That's another thing I want to show y'all. Even though this price action was trash, this was just nothing but a flag. It flagged right around the 200, and then it bust out and over. Okay, so now you're looking to see if the bulls are going to continue the breakout. With the Qs, hold on 1 second, y'all. Alright. Oh, I can do that. I didn't know that. Alrighty. So the Qs, just like NASDAQ, we are looking to see, good Lord. Now, again, just like the NASDAQ, like IWM, like SPY, that we'll get to in a second, for about the last week, it's been in a basing mode, almost like a flag. Alright, so looking to see if it's going to break out. You got an inside day here. So although, I was saying earlier, Mondays are usually a day for things to set up, you do have an inside almost hammer here. So if the Qs could give us a nice trend day on Monday and break 390, we might see it try to go up to 394. Now you'll see that with the Qs, even though SPY took out the, I think it's the monthly high, the Qs have not. Alright, so you can see right here, for Qs, wait, let me go to SPY. That's what I was looking at. Nope, I was wrong. No, yeah, I think it was this. So did Q's do that? I'm really sorry about this lag, y'all. And you know what's interesting is I did this because I was having issues when I would record and try to upload. So it's like I can't win right now. And maybe it's because it's raining. Okay, this is really lagging. Come on now. We're not going to do this. You're not even switching on me at all. It's like it's stuck. I'm not sure what's happening. Give me a second, you guys. Okay, we're like legit stuck. What's going on? Anything. I may have to move locations because this is not going to work. I may actually have to record a video and upload it later for the rest of this. I can't even get through the spine and cues right now. What is going on? Try to move. Yeah, it's stuck. I wonder if I try to do it over here. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure what's happening over here where this isn't working, but I'm trying not to go through the old school of having to switch like this and have that. Alright, that's better. If it does it again, though, I'll just go to the other tab, y'all, because we're not going to sit here and wait like that. We don't have that type of patience. We're supposed to, though. Alright, anyway, so I was saying, I lost my train of thought. We were comparing SPY and the Qs. Let's do it over here because it's being stupid. Alright, so SPY, I think it was the last month high. The 459 level is what I was looking for SPY. And it hit it. Took out this monthly high. So then the next one I would be looking for is 462. But when I was looking at the Qs, yeah, it was that they had not taken out the previous month's high like SPY did. Alright, so SPY took it out, but Qs did not. Alright, so if, continuing to the upside, we would be looking for Qs to take out the last monthly high and then start going for these over here, okay? Because we think the SPY is going to do the same thing. Now that we've taken this out, we're looking for this 462 area first, and then 479, and then you start drawing your fibs. It's 479, probably gonna get to 500. It may do something like that. Hit that 480, come down, retest like that or that, and then come up to the 500. Look at that. That's by April of next year. So that's what we're looking for, okay? And then also you can see on this monthly with both the Qs and SPY, this gigantic inverted head and shoulders, okay? Which was supported here at 342 for the Qs and 410 for SPY. Alright, gigantic inverted head and shoulders. So your support for real is going to be at this 410. So we're still looking for, again, the 462. Top of the broadening formation here will be that all-time high at 480. Let's see if we can get back to here. Okay. Yeah, so y'all have seen that on the monthly. Now, we do have a new 2-week candle starting. I didn't see many setups here on our regular things, but I'll show you that in a second, what we do have. But yeah, so you'll see here with SPY how we based, allowed the EMA to catch up, because remember, usually we'd say, okay, well, this gapped away, we're looking for it to correct to the EMA. But instead of correcting to the EMA, it can also give us crappy price action like this, where it moves sideways while the EMA just catches up. and gives the bulls or the bears, whichever way direction you're doing, a chance to find support and move. You had a hammer right here, and then it took off. So looking for it to continue this breakout. You even see here on the daily the inverted head and shoulders. Alright, I think I missed that last week. I'm trying to remember. I remember last week I was talking about exhaustion in the PMGs. We still are aware of those, but we can make more of them. Like for instance, with SPY, like we were saying before, if you're for correction, you want to target these EMAs and then any gaps. But we are going to be aware of these PMGs here, okay? For if it becomes time, and you're not surprised on why there's a huge sell-off. The bears have to wake up for that first, though, you guys. They're hibernating, so I don't see that happening, but we're going to be aware of it. Good morning, Shay. Hey, Shay. That's my girl, y'all. I love your support. That's my girl right there. Shay, let me know if there's anything you're eyeing. I know usually you kind of watching the same thing, so let me know if you see anything or you got your eye on anything. All right, Apple. You gonna act right? Yeah, you gonna act right. Okay, so Apple. Apple is funny because last week, I'm not sure if y'all remember from last week, we were looking at this absolutely beautiful shooter right here. And I played puts once it broke through, but then ended up getting stopped out because I played puts and I said to myself, if Apple could CTO an outside week. Y'all see this, right? So that's why I got stopped out, because it definitely did a TTO and did the same thing as SPY. You have this flag where it based. It allowed the EMA to catch up. You had a hammer day on Thursday. This is where I got stopped out at, and then it reversed. And so now, again, this is still a flag. We're still looking for this to continue to the upside. No 2-week signal here. Basically, a lot of these you're going to find aren't really, there will be continuations on these monthlies. You had this morning star here, and I'm pretty sure I did point that out last month, this morning star, but it hit the target. And so that's where I was like, all right, we hit the target. Maybe we'll have some exhaustion. We'll have some, correction. It wasn't enough. Boy, they be holding Apple up. They be holding Apple up. Meanwhile, y'all see my Apple Watch, right? iPhone, like, I should know better than to short the behemoth. But anyway, this is what stops are for. So anyway, this is where you see Apple. Again, any downside, we will look to target these gaps. You don't have a PMG here on the weekly, but we've just had several strong weeks of bullish activity. So even though it's one of those things where you say, can it keep going? Yes, it can keep going. We should short the top. Don't try to call a top right now, because what I really want y'all to understand, until a major support fails, or a support fails and we drop under EMAs and they start becoming resistance, we're in a bull market. The bulls they got the ball. They don't try to be a bear unless you know how to trade the range, and even then, take your money. All right, until we see something solid on the chart that gives us a solid reversal, especially on the weekly. You want to see weekly reversals, but even then, they're not as strong. Pointing out Apple right here. You saw a shooter right here that didn't quite go. All right, so again, it's Apple, but just wanted to point that out again. Microsoft is another behemoth that's just been going. Microsoft made a new all-time high here at 386.62. So that's one where you're like, all right, we done had a new high. We've hit the top of the broad information. We do need some correction. So watching Microsoft to see if it can do this. This isn't quite an evening start, but we do have a 2 up, 2 down possible. So that may give us a little bit of the corrective activity we need. But yeah, Microsoft is just looking for that to correct and possibly maybe do this flag here, because you had this straight up. It can flag like here, even down here to this 367, and still keep going if it wants to and make another new high. But yeah, I drew this line right here, this weekly line of the uptrend that it's in. It can still come down, test this even to 350. Should be half of this to this EMA, and that will be about the monthly line, and it can still keep going. All right, because you can see it did this here on the month. We had this move, came down, tested the line, then we had this move. So wondering if it may come down, test the line, and keep on going to the upside. All right, so we'll have to see what tech does to give us the end of year rally, because you know if Microsoft falls, that's going to be hard for everything else to keep up. But chips have also been correcting. So if chips are done with their correction and they decide to move back up, and Apple keeps going, Amazon, Tesla has an inside month, that may help push the Qs to the upside, because again, we were saying that is the lagger out of, I guess, these power moves that's been happening. The Qs have been lagging while SPY has been going. So watching that. All right, from here, let us go to our sectors. XLY. Oh Lord. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is really blowing me. How this is slow. I promise you I won't do this here again. Alright, so XLY, you can see here on the weekly that you kind of have an inverted head and shoulders here. Your support for that is going to be this 160, 160. But notice that it has hit the top of this trend line, this downward trend line that we are in. Okay, so that's where it kind of needs to, that's the resistance there. And the support is going to be here at this 161. So you need to see what it does from here, if it can break out. It's kind of flagging a little bit. So you might see it, no, that's wrong. You might see it do this 2 down, 2 up. This is a 2 up continuation. But it has to break through this downtrend line. Alright, consumer discretionary has been flagging here, and we're going to see if it's going to break out. You know, it's a strong breakout if it does. If you look at it here on the daily, you can see this is a bull flag. So seeing if it can break, and then your next target to the upside is going to be this 175.23 there. No 2-week signal here. Yep, and in the monthly, basically though, you kind of have an inverted head and shoulders here, but it's still stuck in a range. So you really, again, want to see it break out of this downtrend to have a slight move. Otherwise, it may come back down into the same choppy range that it's been in. But as long as it holds this 162 support, you should be good. XLK Technology is taking forever. On the monthly, this actually looks a lot like SPY. This is more like a cup handle, and it boomed. Okay, you had a handle, then you had a morning star here, and then it boomed from there. We've reached the top of the broadening formation, so interesting to see where it goes from there. And then again, the same thing here on the daily. You have this base that it's made, and it's basically a flag. So still looking for technology to boom. This actually looks just like the Qs, where it has the inside almost hammer on that daily. But we are kind of reaching exhaustion. Still can go, but again, almost reaching exhaustion. So XLF financials, banks have been doing super well. But again, on this monthly, you're still stuck in this range here, looking to see it break out. One thing I want you to notice though with this range is that since it made this low here, with this range, it's making higher lows. So it's in a channel, and you want it to break out of this channel, but you know, that's the channel that it's in. Beautiful move on the weekly. This could be a TTL though, so we're going to watch to see if it does any correction, and then possibly continue to take it to the upside. So yeah, banks are looking good. Watch your banks. They may still have more meat left in them. XLC Communications. Now, what I see here on the daily is a head. Okay. And a gap here. So this is kind of a which way are you going to go, right? So we are still above our 200, well above our 200. So you know we are in the buy the dip mode. You have a inside day here with the hammer. However, you are in the under the 8. So in between the EMAs. Now it could come down and fill this gap here at the 68, 65. Or this inside hammer could be the corrective activity that it needed because it TTO'd these people out right here and make this a cup handle, boom, to 72.18. All right, so here on the weekly you do have somewhat of an inverted head and shoulders that would be supported at 65.87. It's like way down here, but yeah, on your daily you are looking like you could kind of go either way. Cup and handle, or this could be a head. This would be your shoulder area. It basically needs to stay under 70 for that to be active. It needs to break 69.19 and then you can start going for that gap. But again, this is only would be a short-term bearish move, because overall we are bullish. And don't forget your time frame continuity, okay? Like this is because this next week we uncouple. These are things that you want to watch. Some of these, because the month just started on Friday, you may be green, but it can surely switch really quick. Another reason why you want to have your things marked like this, like your quarter open, your month open. You know it just opened, so you know you want to see if it's going to flip it back red or back green, whichever it is. So again, remember to pay attention to that. All right, XLE. XLE is one of my top watches, mostly because look here on the monthly, y'all. We're flagging. So remember, XLE was the play of the year last year, right? We had an incredible year. This year we have stayed inside, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yes, it's been an inside year. Okay, and that makes sense because after that strong move. So I'm really looking. This is like going to be the top watch for next year, for it to break out of this inside year. We also see it's a bull flag here. With all the correction, we're still making higher lows and it's getting really tight. So I'm looking for at some point, and like I said, probably next year, since it's a month away, we can break out of this. Now, on the monthly, you see here, we could do a 2 down, 2 up reversal. It would need to break above 87.58. So, you know, watch SOM and CBX and Oxy, things like that, to see if it's going to reverse. All right. On your 2 week, you have an inside doji. So you don't know who's going to control here. But it's one of those things, y'all know I like this. If the 2 week, we can get a 2-1, 2 up, which will then trigger the monthly 2 up. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for with XLE. If you look at it here on the daily, it is bear flagging. Now, well, no, yeah, it is a bear flag. All right, because you got this down move and then it's doing this. However, we are sitting around like just under the 200. You can tell it's been a resistance. Look how many times it's whipped off of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like it's yeah. So that's the level to beat. All right, if it can break above this 200, then we may be able to see some upside. And we're looking forward to break above that, trigger the 2 week, then trigger the monthly. All right, so that's XLE. XLU utilities. On the monthly, it looks like you had a wonderful TTO here, hammer and reversal. All right, so looking to see them continue that. They are trying to make their way up to this 200, so that's going to be my first big resistance to 64.23. And then, yeah, that's how XLU is looking. Check the chart real quick. The newest one I'm adding to my watch list is gold in addition to ES, NQ, and CL, so you're good. Love you, girl. Yes, gold. Gold has been, honestly, this past week I played gold in CL more than I played ES and NQ, because I find that if ES and NQ are being stupid, gold or CL could be making a nice move, and it pays well when it's not being choppy, because I'm telling you, that thing could chop you up and eat you up, but if you catch it when it's actually making a decent move, it pays very, very well. Alright, industrial XLI, you can see it's basically having a decent few weeks. This is another one that has an incredible PMG. We were looking at this PMG last week, and it said, no, we're still going. We got places to go. We are going to take these folks out. Not quite. 109.25 is going to be the next target for this, and then seeing if they want the 111. All right, then the top of that broadening formation. No actionable signals here, but yeah, this, all right, this is a prime example, you guys. Look at this right here. So you see this move, it based, gave time for the EMA to catch up, and then zoomed, right? This is what exactly what I'm talking about that it's doing with SPY and Qs. So we've done this, and I think for a couple of them, for this will be Friday. So this may be Monday, or at least next week, where we have this solid move. You know, oh, we're extended, blah blah blah. Yeah, we were extended, but then we've had this BS price action for so long that gave them enough time to reset, have a little bit corrective activity, and boom from there. All right, so that's what we're looking for. And then you can see this incredible inverted head and shoulders. It just boom from that. So no actionable signal here. It's just going to be a continuation on XLI. XLV is healthcare. Yes, XLV, I believe, inside month breakout. Yep. Now, if you look at this, this is kind of really ugly. So even though this has an inside month and it can break up, what I wanted to point out to you guys is that we're looking for, like the last time it bounced from here, the bottom, and went to the top of the broadening formation. Okay, so looking for it to bounce from down here and kind of do the same thing, go to the top of that broadening formation. It's still going to stay in this kind of ugly range, but you have a hammer here. It's not an actionable signal, but this hammer is showing you that the bulls are in control. They can break above this 131.74, which was kind of basically this target right here. It may still continue to go to the upside. All right, so breaking above that 200 on the daily, so it's showing us strength. All right, so that's what we're looking for with XLV. XLP, I believe, is another inside month. No, before it was a TTO and reversal. So no actionable signal here on XLP on any time frame, any of these time frames. It looks like, though, and you got a PMG here and here. Things we are aware of, even if we're not bearish. But yeah, no actionable signal. It just would be a continuation. Looks like it's headed towards this 200. 71.82 is this a gap? There's a tiny little gap up here at 72.08 if it wants it. So consumer staples, real estate had a good week. It had a breakout. We were, come on now, how you gonna load one and not the rest? We were looking at it as, oh, this is almost an inside week. It'd be nice to see it break above this 200, and it did with strength. Hopefully, if y'all have been watching for a while, I know we're mostly STRAT, but I'm STRAT plus EMAs and patterns, if y'all hadn't noticed by now. And I hope y'all are noticing these patterns, noticing what happens when certain things happen, when we base by the 200. Look at this. This is the same kind of price action almost as SPY and the Qs, except this was below the 200. It based, it made a bull flag, and it broke out of the flag. This is why I like flags, because it's breakouts from there. It broke out and left the 200 in the dust. Alright, so no actionable signal there. It would just be a continuation. But real estate is doing good. XLB is materials. Another one that's kind of in a sideways move, but finally broke above the 200. Base below, you got an inverted head and shoulders here, base below, and then broke out. Alright, and it's just been having beautiful green days. Inverted head, and here's your head. So their shoulder is going to be supported at about $80 there. And see if it can make its way to the top of that Broadening formation. XOP oil and gas is kind of going to look similar to XLE if it ever shows up. We do have an inside week here though. So it's basing like right at the 200 again, just like XLE is, except this has found it a bit easier to break above, but it's still basing like right below. Even though you have an inside week, I don't like this setup because it's like sitting in the middle of these EMAs. So it's like deciding what it wants to do. I think it needs to have a decision, like if you're going to break to the upside, there's plenty of room up there to go flip the quarter open, or if you're going to break to the downside, like make a decision. You're kind of flagging here, so I have to see which way it goes. No actionable signal there on any of that, but again, it's still making higher lows, so something we want to be aware of. XRT, which is retail. Remember, we just had Black Friday. Christmas season is coming upon us, so like I've been saying for a couple of weeks, I'm looking for retail and travel and transportation to have a nice run. And you can see last week we were watching this inside week. It boomed up, beautiful move to the upside. Something you like is when it bases above this 200, creates an inside week, and it breaks out from there. That was just like almost an easy trade right there. Alright, so on the month we still do have a little bit of room. It's still basing in the same area, but it's one of those ranges, weekly ranges, that you could have caught. Jets is another one that we were watching because again, transportation, Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up, looking for this inside month. Now you can see we did a TTO here. This was what I really liked about it, and then we recovered. So now I'm looking to see if they're going to continue. I can't remember if BA is part of Jets. I know it's part of the Dow, but BA has been having a really good recovery. So still looking for this to continue, even though it's hit the monthly target here, at least halfway here. 1814, 1860 is the 50% mark on this downtrend that we marked. I believe it was either last week or the week before. All right, you got your base, your bull flag and breakout. You got your inverted head and shoulders here, which support. So looking for at least 18 and then the 50% level of that 1860. Lit and China are just like almost one of those things where I almost don't want to talk about them anymore because they're just not doing much, but they are. Lit is just, you see this kind of action on the daily, but if you can see what it's doing, it's just slowly melting. When I say slowly, I mean slowly melting. Now it's had this move in its base, and it's printed an inside 2 week. So if it does want to have some type of recovery, it could definitely do that. You got to almost hammer here on the weekly, so that weekly could trigger the 2 week to the upside, just to give it a little bit of corrective activity after all of this, and being exhausted. So that's what I would be looking for with lit. SMH semis. So Nvidia was on the list last week. Did anybody catch that? Because that was like, some of the weekly lists last week was like really popping. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if anybody caught that. But Nvidia was in an awesome move down last week. So where SMH is at now, it's the inside month. Kind of hit its exhaustion. Last week it did the same thing. We were looking at it because of the shooter, but it did the same thing as Apple almost, where it like TTO'd and then came back in. Now it's a doji, so it's not really anything. One thing I want to point out though is that if it decides to be red, this is almost an evening star. And evening stars sometimes take more than one time frame to go. So this could continue to the downside and come down here to this 155.48 and just have taken 2 weeks, and that pattern still play out. Plus you can kind of see here on the daily, you got your head and shoulders, not an inverted, your head and shoulders supported here by 159. If it breaks 159, it's going for this gap. All right, 157.36, and then we may come to that weekly target at the 155.14, which would still just give us a little bit of correction to keep moving back up. All right, on your 2 week, you do have a somewhat actionable signal here. I know it says no, but I think that they just mean that there's no shooter, because if this does a 2 up, 2 down, you can catch that. You can play that. That's a STRAT signal. So IYT, transportation, again, strong move. It's about that time of year. Remember, there's no actionable signal here, but it has based above and recovered the 200 and boomed out. Why is this just the one? Lord have mercy. So it's about it has come halfway from this down move. So if it continues from here, especially after it took these folks out, we can expect that it can continue to this 267 and have a complete recovery. Then China. Let me check this really quick. Last but not least, China. Shay, you just made me smile. Again, ill. Ill. Okay, one thing I want to look at really quickly on the year. Look at this. Like, there's just, where is it going? It's one of those psychological targets. Like, where are you going? You don't have any targets to the downside. So next would be 20, and then 15, and so on and so forth. So your favorite China stock is probably not doing well. I remember when it did this last year, and I was like, oh, we might be recovering. Alright, so there's nothing going on here. There's absolutely nothing. There's no signal that's letting us know that we should jump back into China. Hey, Richard. How's it going? Long time. I kind of missed y'all. I'm not going to front. I was doing those recorded videos, and I was like, I miss talking to my folks. I miss just saying hi, that type of thing. So glad y'all are here. I appreciate y'all very much. Okay, so from the sectors, we're going to go to our 2 week setups. Let's go over here because we don't want to get confused. Our 2 week setups. So we got XLE, which we talked about. Oh, hello. We talked about already. What is this? I'm not sure why that is on there. If I do this, though, you can see it. That's your inside 2 week setup for XLE. XLC has an almost evening star on the 2 week. Alright, so if we're going to I'm not sure why this is doing this, y'all. Is this on because it's on my weekly? Oh, it's probably because of this indicator is doing that. So my apologies, but you got your evening star, possible evening star right here. So if we can break this 69.20, hopefully I don't have to keep doing it. TTD, it is doing it. I'm not quite sure. Let me figure this out. It's one of these. What is this? Nope. I really don't know, y'all. It's the Strat one? Oh, that's funny. Okay, anyway. Inside 3-1 for TTD. This wants to go to the upside. Low is one of my favorites because you have a double inside week and a flag. Alrighty, so really, really, really watch low. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. I was like, why does it look like that? Nice and tight right here, and looking to see if it can break up to the upside. Alright, so low is on that 2 week. Google has a rep strat. Now, Google's funny because I feel like Google is Apple Jr., where you might look at this rep strat and say, okay, this is your target for this would be 120, but they be holding Google up, which you do want to pay attention to this, because if you do have this 1-2 up, 2 down, and it does come down to 120, you do want to catch that. All right, so, and then looking at this, you can see that we may have some corrective activity. So watch Google. Ooh. Pep, I am looking for the 3 possible 2 up continuation. Alright, and I believe, yes, it was taking out this 170 and then moving to the upside, because we had this TTO and then it may want to come and move to the up. I believe that PEP is also in one of our sectors, so that's another reason why it's on that list. CVX is what is this? Oh, y'all, that's because I'm in this other one. I did not have all of these lines here. Apologies. I'm supposed to be on this one, but it's loading so slow, so that's why I switched over. CVX, you can see here, inside week, so looking for the 2-1-2 up. And again, if this is with your XLE and your energy, that 2 week can trigger the monthly, which at 149.54 we may get some upside going. Oh, come on now. So CVX, y'all. Netflix is another one I like. Look at this shooter. You can't see it because of the stupid thing. Look at that, y'all. That's more like a gravestone doji than a shooter, but it's beautiful because it's so tight. It's one of those things where, like, you can really say that the Bears are in control here. This is what gives me a little bit of mixed feelings about the Qs, only because, we had this, you had that run. Now, it did not quite take these people out. That's the only thing that gives me pause. But this tight of gravestone doji, all it needs to do is break 465 and we can have some down time. So Netflix looks really, really good with that doji. Zom's kind of like CVS. It's not as good as, I actually like CVX's inside bar better, but it's still an inside bar. And then don't forget, we have this PMG here on Zom. So if it does have some upside, it could zoom. Don't forget those PMGs on XLE, y'all, on energy. And then Meta, you have this 2 up that's red. So it's not really a great setup there, but there is a setup. Also because it took these folks out. So if it does want to reverse, then it can do that. I think, so that's just all of that. The monthly, I was just going to scroll through. I'm not going to go through these. What I did want to point out, though, was that you have quite a few stocks. Another reason why I still think that there's more room to go, that have a potential for finishing the outside quarter. So with that in mind, knowing that we could still push more because we have outside quarter targets to hit, especially for like the Qs and SPY, because Apple could still go to 198.23. All right, so that could still move. BA is another one that I'm looking at, could still go to 243.10, which could push the Dow. All right, so GS could still go to 361, which could push XLF, we were talking about XLF. HD and low, we were talking about. HD recovered and could hit 338, which would low would run in sympathy, of course. Our banks again, JPM going to 159. I believe McDonald's is XLC or XLY, so, and it may be the Dow as well, 299. So, and then even Netflix, although Netflix came real close, it may have come close enough actually. Did this hit? It hit 482. So Netflix could have come close enough, and then it's going to go ahead and recover. Retrace, or they could fake us out with that gravestone doji, and it can continue to do that. So again, these are things I want y'all to keep in mind. There's a long list, and I got this list from Frank's spreadsheet. So this is a long list of things that can still go, and then these are the sectors that can still go. XLB Materials, XLI Industrial, Real Estate, XLU Utilities has not quite triggered yet, but yeah, XLY, and then XRT. I believe XLY is, that's the one with McDonald's. Not looking at it now, y'all can look up the ETF thing to see that. But yeah, there are a lot of things that can still go outside month. This is why we're saying we can still be very green. Here are some of the inside months. Y'all can like screenshot or write them down or whatever that I was looking at that I like for potential upside. Not really looking bearish on anything, but these are things that I'm watching. So what I'll do is next week when I come in, then we'll just go over and see kind of where these things are at. All right, so those are the monthly, and then of course I have a weekly list for y'all. So Amazon star on the week. Now I did a fib. Oh, hello. Nope, go back. Put y'all on my other chart. I did a fib extension to kind of see where this was going to go. I'm going to take that off for now so y'all don't get confused. And then, yeah, see, I shouldn't have done this one because my charts aren't updated on this side. This is why I was on this tab, y'all, because these charts aren't quite as updated. But anyway, looking at the star on Amazon, if we do retrace, we're looking for this 2 up, 2 down to come. Tesla has, an interestingly enough, we have a STRAT setup here if we are red. So that's something we want to keep in mind. But do remember that Tesla does have a green inside month that can trigger to the upside if it wants to go. So watching Tesla to see which way it wants to go. TTWO has a run and then an almost shooter, although it's green. So it's one that you're just watching to see if it does the play. UAL has a hammer here on the week, which we love. So you have basically a Randy Jackson where we was going up, we had our corrective activity and printed a hammer. So looking for this to continue. Again, this is airlines, and we're expecting airlines to have a nice run. So yeah, UAL. CPB is another one that is a hammer. This is a cheapie, and you have a possible rev strat set up here. So if this can break above this 4130, 4172 would be the next, and then 4233. Again, this is a cheapie, so it's one that you can play that 4150 and be in the money like that. All right, so that's why I brought that to y'all. PEP is another one that has a hammer, although it's red, and we're sitting at a strong resistance. If we can break this 170, we can get a move to at least 174, possibly this target here at 175. This is another cheapie that when you can catch the move, it's really good. All right, the sector that I like, XLP. I do not know why I have this. I think I put this here while I was sleepy, y'all. I don't like this. I'm taking this off of here. It's an inside week, but I don't like this because it's stuck in between all of this. Like I'm gonna wait till it makes up its mind, but I will continue to watch it. Then of course low. I already talked to y'all about low. It's not an actionable signal on the weekly, but on the 2 week it is. So you can take that 2 week to that monthly trigger. All right, and I think that is it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I did the monthly dissectors, spy. I think that's it. So yeah, I guess I will see you all next week. I will try to go live again. Just it's going to depend on circumstances. If not, then I will record a video as usual. But again, don't forget to like for me, y'all. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And thank you again for watching and being here. And I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.